one Marvel product to another Marvel product. Let's go into episode 2 and episode 3 of Loki.
Okay, so episode 2, Loki tries to do his Loki thing of trying to get around the what are they called again? The TVA.
TVA.
Yes, when they found the anomaly, they go there to investigate, and Loki's trying to be like, oh, if you go out there, she'll attack you. He was trying to like lie or something. And then they found out he was lying. It's like, dude, what? Like, we can't trust you. And he was like, oh, yeah, you can trust me. And then, I don't know. There was like a lot there where he was trying to, first trying to get around them, and then decided, you know what, I'm not going to get around them. I'm going to try and work with them. But then
I'm going to get around them.
But then he figures out how the variant has been getting around in apocalypses, just before they happen, which is very smart of Loki. I felt like that was a bit of a reach that he figured that out, but hey, he figured it out, which led them to that.
I just think it's a pretty smart. I don't know if that's in the comics or whatever, but it's a pretty smart
way to get around it.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Smart writing, but whoever did it, whether it was in the comics or in the show. And then obviously they go to that disaster in Alabama, 2068 or whatever.
2068, I thought 2055. I might be off the year.
I thought it was 2060 something.
Might have been. I just know it was in the future, and I was like, I am so looking forward to our stores looking like that.
Yeah, I mean, either way, sorry, Alabama. Global warming. And then we start seeing the variant's powers of like taking over people's minds or having a conversation with Loki, yada yada. Then steps into that portal, and then Loki follows. Okay, that's what happened like a week and a half ago. Now let's talk about this recent episode.
Because this one's more fresh.
Yes. What did you think about their interactions with each other? Variant, Loki, and Loki. Sylvie and Loki.
Honestly, the thing I with this is I'm confused as to how they're the same person. I really am. Like, I will say that. Like, it just feels like it doesn't feel like how I guess there's probably a reason as to how they're alternate versions of each other, right? Like maybe it's an alternate version, right? Maybe there's a gender swap universe or something like that.
Well, they did explain, like earlier when Loki was asking about variants, that some of them might look just like you, with just like a slight difference, and some might be completely different from you.
Yeah.
And this
then I guess it just depends on the universe, the way that universe plays out or whatever.
Yeah, and it's easier to do that than to consistently do special effects for Loki double. So just cast a woman that's different.
But I like their chemistry. I did like their chemistry. And it's funny. It's pretty. I like the way that they're making Loki be kind of that. He's still the mischievous guy, but he also still is the anti-hero, right? He's the anti-hero here, right? Yeah, he's after his own agenda. He has his own agenda, but his agenda is technically speaking the same agenda as hers. They just have different purposes to finding out.
Yeah,
the Timekeepers? The Timekeepers. They both want to expose the Timekeepers, or at least that's what I'm gathering out of it. But they have different motives to why they're doing it. Hers is she wants just to destroy them, whereas his is more of a selfish of I just want to have your power.
Yeah, Loki never really strikes me as like an evil guy. He's a lot of what Loki does. He strikes me as a bored guy. Like he just kind of like.
I guess. I mean, Avengers. Some of the victims of Avengers movie 1 might disagree with you.
I don't know, man, but that's the thing. Like, he's never, like, yes, he attacked New York and yada yada, but
it's been done thousands of times up by that point.
I mean, Thanos killed half of the humanity, so like, I don't know. He always strikes me as someone. Like he talks about glorious purpose a lot, but I honestly don't feel like Loki really has a purpose. I always feel like he's always just.
That's the theme, I think, here. The theme is he's trying to find his purpose.
Yeah, I always feel like he's always just like going on to the next thing and seeing, what happens. And it'd be damned if he might step on a couple of toes along the way. So it's
He's the
kind of
god of YOLO.
yeah, basically. It's like, hey, look, man, I'm just living. I'm just gonna do, whatever.
YOLO.
Screw whomever, whatever. And I don't know. It's a strange thing about his character, but I don't know. There are parts of me that sometimes feel like the character has run its course a little bit, but I do like their interactions with each other. Because she feels like a more grounded Loki in a sense, like less concerned with all the banter and all the just trying to be.
Well, it's kind of like you said. He's trying to have a purpose. She has a purpose. She has a purpose. She technically has a purpose.
That's a good point. Yeah. He's aimless, whereas she's like laser focused.
Exactly, because his aim is he just wants the power. Whereas her is she doesn't believe anyone should have that power.
Well, I believe Mobius even like asked him something like, "Okay, so what happens when you get the power? Like run me through what happens if you actually did, like conquer New York or whatever. Then whatever, conquer Earth. Then what would happen?" And I don't remember what Loki's answer was, but Mobius was onto something there. Like he just did it because he felt like something that he should do. And obviously for working for Thanos or whatever. But he just did it because it felt like it was something he should do. But then there wasn't like a what's next sort of thing, right? He's an aimless person as opposed to Sylvie. I'm sure we'll find out why, but she hates the Timekeepers and she wants to go and kill them or expose them or whatever. Which actually leads to there were some pretty big reveals in this episode. One being that the people at the Time Variance Authorities are all variants. Like they were all humans at one point.
Yeah.
And they were plucked out of, Earth or humanity or whatever to work at the Time Variance Authority. And none of them know this. None of them remember this.
They all believe that they were created.
Right. There was an allusion to that at the beginning of the episode when she's in that one's mind, and it's like she's in this tiki bar or whatever, and I thought it was just like a creation of Sylvie at the time, but this is Sylvie tapping into her memory. At some point in her life she was at that tiki bar, and and this probably explains Mobius's fascination with this snowboarding or yeah. It's probably from his time. It's probably something that he was into when he was a human, but he doesn't know why he's so into them. He's just like, I just like them. It's really cool. So
I want to know where a guy that that Loki meets the Asian guy who works in like the talk about the one that he said the Infinity Stones and like we have plenty of those. I want to know where he's from.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if he's like from Hawaii and he's like he has no idea what a fish is.
That's funny. He's a fisherman, but like
he's a fisherman has no idea what a fish is. But yeah, so does that make you think that the time keepers are
nefarious?
Actually, I was going to ask, do you think they're real? Because they've kind of implied that they're not.
I do think they're real. Or I think there is someone behind them. I don't think they're actually reptiles, but I don't think they're all altruistic. I feel like there is some nefarious motives there.
Kind of episode 1 kind of makes me think that how it was very like writing the paper. He had to sign the papers of every single thing that he's ever said. You need to go to the metal detector so we can prove you're not a droid. What happens if I go to the metal detector? You'll explode. Makes me wonder if there's what probably is going to be is that the Timekeepers is really going to be like not a mechanical thing, but like kind of like a machinery thing where like there's somebody who is controlling it and literally controlling almost every single piece of whatever's happening. Yeah, in there. Like I have a feeling it's making me think that that's what it's gonna be like, just from what it was in the first episode.
Yeah. I think maybe droids would be able to see through whatever's going on. So that's how
that's why they have to explode him.
yeah.
Makes sense.
So okay, and then another reveal. Honest, like it was all over, BuzzFeed and all these other articles. Was that Loki is bisexual? I am going to say something that people might be offended by. Honestly, is anyone shocked? Like I don't know, man. Like I never thought of Loki and thought that this is like a one woman man or a
Yeah.
one person guy. Like when he was described, when she was like, "Is there a special princess out there or prince perhaps or whatever?" And then he was like, "Yeah, I had my share of both, yada yada."
A little bit of both.
It reminds me. It's like what I said about. He's just kind of a guy who lives life by the seat of his pants, and whatever presents itself at the time is what he goes for, right? I don't even think he's particularly in love with men or women or whatever. It's just like, hey, want
He's
to
in love with
bell?
himself.
He's in love with himself. Thank you. It's like, hey, want to bell? Like whatever you are. So I know there's a big thing. Oh, main Marvel character is bi, and representation matters. We say it all the time, but it was not a shock to me. like when they say it, it's like, oh yeah, that tracks.
Well, he's always reminded me. You know who he always reminded me of? Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was bi.
Yeah, I remember
like,
the movie with.
I never saw the movie, but I know that the historical person himself was actually bi because back then they didn't care. Back then it wasn't that sexuality wasn't like that to them.
There were penises and boobs in this movie, like a lot of them.
Were they?
Dawson was in it too. We saw her boobs in the movie.
I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna watch it now, but
Alexander. Yeah, I think the movie's just called Alexander. So yes,
it was Alexander. Yeah. So it's just like, but back then, like, it was gender fluid technically, right? Like, so it's kind of like now. I think it's like kind of what's it called? Asgard kind of gives you the sense that it's a gender fluid area. You know what I mean? Like they don't care about that.
It's always a bacchanal. Everyone's free, drinking wine, doing whatever. Like it feels like the constraints of sexuality is like something that humans have constructed to to limit themselves. Whereas we're gods of Asgard, like we don't care about this or that, or So I don't know. Like it wasn't a shock at all to me, but it was to some people.
2021. Get over it.
Right. And then the third thing, was there another reveal I can think of?
I don't think of a reveal, but I can think of the cliffhanger that it was left on. That was crazy to me.
Which is?
Did the world explode? The world exploded, right? Or it's exploding? No. Their ark destroyed. The ark was destroyed, which actually was a pretty powerful image when all of them just stopped and because you got these guys over here trying to protect it, and then as soon as it explodes, you're like,
some of the officers even just got on their knees. They're like, oh my god.
Yeah, because they just realized it's actually a very powerful image now that I think about it, because back then I thought it was like, wow, I was like, I get why they fell on their knees, because the one thing that they thought was going to continue their world or their people were going to continue has just literally been destroyed.
Yeah.
They're about to be wiped out.
Yeah. It's a strange thing, right? Knowing that your death is coming.
Yeah.
I've always wondered about that, whether it would be better to know or if it just happened suddenly. And now these people on that planet have to, on Lamentus One, have to deal with that realization.
Did you like that part about how they needed to steal the ark?
I don't know. I didn't feel one way or another about it. Yeah.
I just feel. I'm not gonna lie. Like so episode 2. How would you rank it?
I don't know. I remember liking episode 2 a bit more than 1. I think I gave 1 a 6.5. I'd probably rank that as 7. I wasn't particularly blown away. I do remember liking this one a bit more, just because you have the dialogue thing, and I feel like this is what a lot of the TV shows are leaning into, having like 2 people that basically bounce off each other. In WandaVision, it was Wanda and Vision. Falcon and Winter Soldier, it was Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And in this one, it's the two Lokis.
Loki and Loki.
Yeah, and it kind of explains the opening credits now, where the LOKI just keeps like changing formations and all that stuff, and then like stays, so it's like the variants. So this one, it's another buddy cop type of show where they get to bounce off each other and all that. So I prefer this episode more. I thought the buddy cop aspect would be between Loki and Mobius, because I do like their banter, Hiddleston and Owen Wilson. But this is good. I enjoyed episode 3 the most of the 3. Still, it's. I feel like the show still hasn't found its groove yet.
Yeah, that's why I asked that. So I think I enjoyed the second episode a little bit more than the third episode, but I really enjoyed the third episode. I enjoyed the third episode, but I don't know, there's something that was just missing for me in it at the same time. I'll give them both a good solid 7.5. Like both of them are really like good episodes, but I also still feel like even if it's a 7.5, that third episode felt a little bit disjointed, kind of like, which I guess makes sense because they don't know what they're doing. So, but it kind of also felt like the story didn't know where it was trying to go.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Like, okay, let's get to this one place. Now let's get to this other place, and I agree with that. With it feeling disjointed.
The action scene, the fight scene where they're fighting like the guys with all the stuff falling back, that was pretty badass. That was a badass scene.
Yeah, and it almost seemed like it was like one tracking shots. But obviously it's not, because it's like special effects and stuff. But it's like following them through as they're like fighting and going through. That's one thing that kind of bugs me about the show a little bit that I want to mention. When I watch TV shows, right, whether it's a superhero show or something that's the most grounded, the rules matter to me, right? I need to understand how that world works. So if you say something like vibranium is the strongest metal in the world or whatever, I need to see that when someone shoots a rocket at it, it's going to bounce off of it, or it's going to like explode and not, something like that, right? The rules are set. The thing that's kind of always bugged me, and also with WandaVision, where she has witch powers, you understand why her powers do certain things and with particular scope, because they explain it. I think Agatha did a fantastic job of explaining Wanda's powers in that second to last episode. The thing that really bugs me is when I see Loki's powers, I never know how powerful or how weak he's supposed to be. There's sometimes when he does things that are like, on a massive scale, I'm like, oh, dude, this dude's really powerful. And then other times he seems to struggle with smaller level things. Like I didn't feel like the fight scene was cool with those guys, but I was like, should this even be an issue? Like from the things we've seen Loki do before, should this be a challenge? And I don't know. Those are the kind of things I think about. It's like it's a power scaling conversation, and there are parts about Loki, not just in this movie, but in this show, but throughout all of his showings, where I'm throughout his whole arc, where I'm like, I don't actually understand his power set. I don't understand.
I don't think so. Is it the power of hiding things?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it the power of turning into a snake and scaring Thor? So I agree. That's why I said again, the episode's a little disjointed, but I'm still in it because it's still a fun show. Okay, so what do you score episode 2 and 3?
I already told you 7.5 for both of them.
For both? Okay. I'll give a 7. I'll also give a 7 to 3, but with a 7.0001. I think it's better than 2.
Yeah. Okay, so I'd say 7.5, a solid 7.5 for episode 2, and a rounded up 7.5.
So episode
8. Yeah, so 7.49 for episode 8.
Nice. I like it. 7.49. All right. So that does it for our Loki review.
And we'll let you guys know when the next one will come out, if it'll be its own episode or if it'll be.
I almost feel like we should just keep it this way for Loki, since we've done it twice now, and we're through the show.
Yeah.
All right. So Cool. So that does it with our entertainment section, right?
That is it for our entertainment section.
All right.
Oh
What's up?
no,
What?
I'll do this at the end because I wanted to give a just a quick, like at the very end of our episode, I'm going to give a 5-minute, like maybe 5-minute speech on Conan O'Brien's last show.
Okay. I mean, it is entertainment, but I guess it's a news that it's his last year, so we'll keep it for the news section.
You guys got to learn we're OCD-ish about our flow. it's pretty sad. So